So, got that. Aid stations are at 26.6 miles, 38.1 miles, and 51.2. Aid station 1 and 3 are actually one and the same. You will go by that twice. Aid station number 2 is kind of our bigger aid station of the bunch.
These Gran Fondos always start with a neutral rollout. So a couple miles down the road is where things get fast. But Jake always runs them kind of slow, lets everybody get on their bike, loosen up the legs. Things kind of naturally organize into the folks who want to ride right behind Jake because they want to attack and do this like a race, to the more recreational riders in the back. And there's a designated point. Jake will start honking his horn, and then the ride is on.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am just pulling out of the parking lot for the Gran Fondo Leavenworth. It's been about 30 minutes since the event started. Riders heading out. Jake led them out on his little TW200 motorcycle. And now that they're about a half hour out, I figure it's time to go start sweeping up the rear end, see if anybody's had any problems at the beginning of the event. And then just play going forward and backwards the rest of the day, make sure everybody's okay. On board, I'm carrying some tools, a few spares. I got a little food, I got a little water, and some Powerade. So hopefully nobody needs any of that stuff, but if they do, I'm here to help. So a little bit of information about this event. This is a gravel event called the Gran Fondo. It is supposed to have been a kind of a lollipop, so go out, do a big loop, come back on the stick, as it were. But we've had some serious rain. You can see the clouds still in the sky. Hopefully the rest of the day will be good, but it's created some pretty muddy conditions, and we've had to alter the course. So it's 70-something miles, and it's just an in and out to Entiat and then back to Dryden Station, if that's how you pronounce it, for the event. Now, being a Gran Fondo, it's not a race, but they do keep the order of finish. And so for many folks like myself, when we do events like this, we kind of treat them like a race because we just want to see how we do against everybody else. Then there's a lot of folks out here just having a great day and enjoying a nice ride on a pre-marked course that's got some support for food and water on it, and people like myself out there helping them along the way. So should take probably most of the day because there's some big climbs. I'm not sure what the elevation profile looks like for the modified course, but probably somewhere in the I don't know, 5,500 foot range, but we'll see once I see everybody's Stravas at the end of this thing. I see the area that these guys are going to be riding in is just absolutely gorgeous. So Eastern Washington, this Leavenworth area is just gorgeous. So there's going to be some nice green and trees, and then you're going to get up high and get into some rocky stuff, and it's a nice mix of pavement, like I'm on the course now, and it's just pavement, but at some point up here I will run into dirt, and then these guys will be having to crank themselves. Most of the time, like the big climbs and the big ugly descents are done on dirt just to make these kinds of events more challenging. So we'll talk to you all in just a minute.
So here's one of the prettiest views from the ride. This is at the top of the climb, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So let's catch up to some of our riders. They're heading up the dirt climb at this point. So I'm basically in first gear on the motorcycle doing a bunch of clutch work just because I don't want to stall out. It doesn't look steep on video, but it really is. These guys are working hard, and it's a number of miles to get to the top and get the enjoyment of coming down the backside. Fairly smooth, a little bit moist, which kept dust down, but you can kind of see some track lines from their wheels, so a little bit of drag along the way to make it extra hard. And as you can see here, I got a chance to help some folks out. Really only had two mechanicals that I had to help with. This one is a flat tire. He was tubeless, but put a pretty good slash in the tire. Ended up inserting a tube and the floor pump was going to be a lot better work for him than using a mini pump. And then earlier on was just somebody who had some shifting problems, and I just did a derailleur adjustment. In that case, it looked like they had a larger cassette put on the rear, but their top pulley was running into it, so the B-tension screw, just tightened that up a little bit, and got that out of the way, and I followed her in various parts to make sure the bike was working fine, and she made her way through the whole event the rest of the time with no problems. So this was fun. I got to catch up to a couple teammates of mine and ride next to them and get them on video, joke with them a little bit. This is on the way back, and it got hot out. I mean, it was high 70s. It wasn't super hot, but it's early season. We're not used to it. So a couple teammates here, and then I rolled up forward and came across another one and got a chance to give him some encouragement and keep rolling up the road and see how everybody else is doing. Well, my job soon changed from being bike mechanic to carrying food and water for folks. Big climb coming back out of Antioch, got hot, and I started coming across people off their bikes. Some were just walking because it was steep, but other people were having really bad cramps. And I'd not had a problem at the previous fondos where I needed to give any food or water. So I brought, one like 32-ounce bottle of water and one thing of Powerade, and those were gone within minutes. So it turned out that I was cruising up to the top of the hill, filling those bottles up, going back down, and then I was out in no time. So next thing I ended up doing was just grabbing one of the big 2-gallon jugs of water, grabbing a bunch of their bananas. I had a box of Cliff bars, and just kept going up and down the road giving people water because they were walking, cramped, and completely out. So that's how the rest of my Fondo support went, ferrying water and food to people. And once they got done, it was time to head home. Couple hours on the bike, heading over the pass. So a big shout out to Jake and his volunteer team for putting on a quality event, and all the riders for coming out and giving it their best.